What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? It's Alex. You watching a Ragin Ronin review. In this video, I will be reviewing Oldboy. That would be the 2013 Spike Lee film, which is a remake of the 2003 Korean film directed by Park Chan-wook. Now, some people might not know this, but Oldboy, the original Korean film, is actually based off the Japanese manga. So the original source material is actually from Japan. Okay, now if you want to watch my review of Oldboy, the original Korean 2003 film from Park Chan-wook, click the link in the description box below or wait till the end of the video. There's going to be an annotation for that video. Now on with the review of the Spike Lee film. Now after I watched the movie in the theater, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to review this movie? Am I going to review it comparing it to the original, or am I going to review it as a film? Now, I decided that because this is a very unique type of film, I'm going to go with something in between. I'm going to have to compare little bits, with the original, but I'm also going to do my best to review it as an original film, even though it's completely unoriginal. But I'll do my best. So here it goes. Now, all you got to know is that the story is about a man. Okay, the plot is about a man, Joseph Doucette, played by Josh Brolin, who's been imprisoned for 20 years without knowing why, and then he's given so many days to find out why, okay? And that's it. And it's kind of a revenge movie. It's a bit of a revenge movie. He wants to know why he's been imprisoned, and he wants to find out, he wants to get to the bottom of this and why it happened to him, and he's going to bust anybody's head who was involved in his imprisonment. And there you have it. That's all you need to know about this film. Everything else is just like icing, because it's a very, very twisted movie with a lot of surprises. Now, of course, if you've seen the original Korean film, there won't be a whole lot of surprises. In fact, it's going to be ruined for you. But I know there are a lot of people who haven't seen the original Korean film and they were just blown away by it. But I'll let you know that the original Korean film is the masterpiece. I got to talk about the acting and the directing, because I can't say a whole lot about the story because the story's brilliant, but that's not on the part of Spike Lee. It's really on the part of the original Korean film. So that part is kind of hard to talk about. But the direction, I think that Spike Lee went with a good direction. He wanted to Americanize this Korean film. There's a lot of cultural things, cultural aspects about the Korean film that would not translate well and would not be acceptable in to the Western audiences. Not acceptable at all, just because these are like cultural things that we as the Western audience will just never understand. It just wouldn't translate well in a mainstream film. So he decided to Americanize it, and that is his direction of the movie. And I think that he did a good job with that. Now, a lot of people are saying that, this movie sucks, okay? But I think that you gotta watch this movie with an open mind. The only problem is that you're constantly comparing it with the original, and you're waiting for things to happen, and that is the problem with a movie like this. I still think that Spike Lee did a good job with the direction. I think a movie like this is tough to create, tough to direct, because there are a lot of expectations. So what you got to rely on is the strength in the acting of especially the lead role played by Josh Brolin as Joseph Doucette. And I think Josh Brolin did a superb job as the lead role. Now, Elizabeth Olsen, there are some things that I find that were a little bit unbelievable on her part. Like, some of her acting was not as believable. And I think that some things were kind of rushed, making me feel that her relationship with Joe Doucette is kind of not as believable. You will know exactly what I mean when you watch this movie. And the main thing is, like, why is Elizabeth Olsen's character suddenly so concerned with him? Okay, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I find that it's just, the movie's just full of conveniences, cinematic conveniences. All right. Another thing that I felt was one thing that I felt was completely unnecessary was the casting of Samuel Jackson. Why did he need to be there? He didn't feel like a badass or anything. He was just he just played a goon. That's all he did, and he really didn't need to be there. So when you have Samuel Jackson in a movie, you have certain expectations for him, and I don't think this was a stretch for him as an actor. Sharlto Copley, he did something a little bit outside of what we're normally used to seeing, and which was very interesting. and I think he did a decent job. But the strongest character is really Josh Brolin and his transformation as a drunken advertisement dude, sales rep, to being you know, this guy who's really out for revenge. There's quite a bit of a transformation there. Now, this movie is based off a manga. It was based off a Korean film, which is based off a manga. So what you're seeing here is a lot of what I like to call, it's very cartoony. It's very comic book like. A lot of what you watch on screen feels like it could be like in a cartoon or a graphic, a very graphic comic, or a very adult-oriented cartoon. Okay, because like what we're seeing here is cartoon violence. I mean, it is gruesome, it is gory, it is very violent, very brutal, but it's still very cartoony. Because I don't know, just things are just so over the top. Now, you're not supposed to in any way think of it being realistic in any way whatsoever. You're supposed to watch this movie as a form of entertainment. But one thing that's really crazy about this movie is the story. Now, with regards to the story, I think that Spike Lee did a good job, as I mentioned before, Americanizing it, because that's exactly what they needed to do. That's the one thing that I was curious about. How is he gonna Americanize a movie? And I think he did a decent job with that. Now, this movie just has a lot of it's a very elaborate movie. Okay, a lot of things are just kind of it feels like a mystery. It's very progressive. You're trying to find out where the story progresses from this point on to this point on to this point on until the very end of the movie. All right, but I have to say that it's not a bad movie. Okay, a lot of people say it's a bad movie because they're fans of the original. Now, a lot of people in the audience, it was a very small audience, a lot of people in the audience, I know that they were fans of the original, and they just wanted to watch the remake and see how it did. But there were just a small, like very few people in the audience who never seen the movie before, and I saw a couple people walk out. I saw a couple of dates in there. This is not a date movie, okay? You don't take your date to this movie. I did. But I saw a couple walk out just because it was just a little bit too offensive. There are some things that are really, really, like, you know, it's very unacceptable for a mainstream audience. There are some things that are just really, really unacceptable. There are some pretty brutal scenes of torture in there, just like the original. But they changed some things up. I'll just let you know right now. Some things were changed up just for cultural differences. And I also like that. I like that Spike Lee paid homage to the original. He did a lot of things to pay homage to the original, and one thing that I gotta say was done really well, in fact even better than the original, was the hallway fight. The hallway fight in the original was done all in one take, and it looked fantastic, but you cannot deny that there were some screw-ups there. Now on the American remake, Spike Lee's version, he does a better job with it. Okay, and I think there was a little bit more patience involved, more dedication from Josh Brolin's part, and it was fun to watch. It was still kind of comic book style, very kind of comedic in some way because it was just so ridiculous, but it worked. Okay, but in no way I think this is a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. It's just very hard to really criticize this movie or give it a proper critique as a film, because it's based off a film. It's based off a Korean movie, like a foreign film, which story would only be acceptable in their market. Okay, you cannot take a direct carbon copy of this story and bring it to mainstream audiences and have it feel like it's acceptable. It's not. It's just because there's just a very taboo subjects in there. All right, so there you have it. Now to this date, I think it took, like, for Oldboy, the original one, it took me like a week to get over it. It haunted me because it's psychological terror. Now the date that I brought, she watched Oldboy for the first time, like the American one. She never saw the Korean one, and she felt very, like, you know, it's gonna haunt her, okay? It's a very, like, you know, just like, you know, that's so crazy. So, like, Spike Lee did do a good job in trying to shock us, and he did, okay? So there you have it. Now, I gave the original Oldboy an 8 out of 10. I'm giving this one a 5.5 out of 10. Now, the main reason why I did that is because these are unoriginal characters. This is an unoriginal story, And the only thing that they have going for itself is how Spike Lee is going to direct it. He did a decent job directing it. The performances from the lead role and of course the main villain is also pretty good, but that's what it has going for itself. And I like how he did some of the changes. He improved upon the hallway fight, but other than that, the Korean original is still superior. Oldboy 2013 version, I don't know if it's a necessary, it's a movie that film buffs need to watch, but I'll tell you this, it is an unnecessary remake. Completely unnecessary. Now, on the other hand, a successful remake is The Departed. The Departed is a very successful remake of the Hong Kong original. And the reason why it is because that subject matter is a very universal subject matter. It's about gangs. Gangs exist in Hong Kong. Gangs also exist in America. All they got to do is Americanize it. It's a very universal plot, okay? But they just borrowed it from the Hong Kong movie. And then Martin Scorsese made it his own version. That's why it worked. And he changing things up to be more his version. Spike Lee just tried to do like tried to bring something that is just so outrageous, but he tried to bring it over here. And because of that, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll work or fly well with American audiences. So that's why I'm saying that this is an unnecessary remake. I'm giving a 5.5 out of 10, mainly for effort. Okay, so there you have it. That's all I gotta say in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. What did you guys feel about the American remake of Oldboy? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. You see the results of it, and it is pretty brutal. And if you're squeamish for that kind of thing, even though you don't actually see it happen, it's still hard to watch, even though